What's up, guys? It's your host Spartanic Arts DxD back with another high school DxD related video. And today we have What If Issei Left, part 11. This part is actually an absolute banger, so stay tuned. Let's try to hit 500 or 600 likes for this video. That'd be absolutely amazing. And if you guys know when I upload / my upload schedule, click the blue button right next to the subscribe button, or the first link down in the description below, or the first link that's pinned on the premiere right now. I know at least 100 of you people are on the premiere, so go ahead and hit that like button because that would be 100 likes right off gate. Thank you so much for the support, ladies and gentlemen. And Popowski's doing pretty good. I'm now uploading some type of shorts content on Fallen DxD, just kind of testing like the waters. Like I'm not just doing I'm doing basically any anime on there. I'm also planning on doing reactions on there as well. So I also need I need an editor. I need an editor to edit some of the shorts from my streams to make like some funny moments from there. And I need an editor to I just need an editor in general. So if you are an editor, email me in my business email, which is my about section and in the description down below. So thank you guys so much for the support once again. I really do appreciate it. Go subscribe to my second channels, obviously. And without any other further ado, let's go and thank my balance breakers. Aunt Lewis, Lachlan Yates, Jordan Patchow, Nate Emma, Rethink135, Slow, The Black Dragon Emperor, Keep Saying 21, $5 Sake Sake, Beer Wolf #2347, XORX108, Ziki2000, Liliana Gorko, Chaotic Raven, Selvix Mazaku, Dr_emoji_ is the bomb, Grimfire Shot Gamer, Ryuga, Beta Joe 98, Source Sponder, and Zero Fusion. Thank you so much for becoming a balance breaker. Seriously, it really helps out the channel. I really do appreciate it. As well as all my limit breakers and Ultra Instinct members, you will be recognized as well. Thank you so much for the support, ladies and gentlemen. And without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into part 11. Chapter 19. In the student council, so we're in the student council right now. It had been a week since Sona talked with the Kendo duo. They had come back after their classes that day because Sona informed them that she let the girls have a 1-week vacation, which let the girls use their popularity to get things in order. Those three have impressed me. I'm amazed they were able to contain their incident, Tsubaki says. Yeah, and we also learned that Genshiro was more of a bastard than we thought, Sona said. I agree, using his dragon Feminurals to seduce Ravel when she was in doubt, and also that girl, who gave him and those other two bastards her underworld to frame Issei, Tsubaki says. Yeah, at least she is lucky that Riser could not leave her alone, Sona says. Well, he does not hold a leadership position like Surzek-sama, and Juku-sama in her mind is too valuable to lose, Tsubaki says. Yeah, her intellect is almost on par with my own. He will most likely keep her away from Rias. It's why he is having his Parage watch over her, while Rukio delivers her schoolwork. But the deal benefits the Citri clan and its hospitals, Sona said. Flashback. So this is a flashback to what they're talking about right now. Ravel had finished her vacation with the other girls and returned to the Hyoudou mansion. The Hyoudou greeted them, but she could see that the smiles on their faces were fake. They were hiding something. She just didn't know what. Irina also looked conflicted throughout the vacation as well. She would usually talk with Gabriel for a few days that the Seraph was with them. Excuse me, Ria-sama, I'm going to check on my family. Said I would last weekend, so I will go see if there's an issue, Ravel said. Oh, that's fine. She was a bit annoyed because Volley did not show up, and did not respond to any of their calls or texts. Son, did Volley ever come by? Now turning her attention back to Miki, Rias did. No, none of the boys came by, Miki said, a bit nervous but calming down. Oh, it seems like they're playing hard to get, Akano said. Why are they nervous? Something is not right? Volley-sama didn't answer Ria-sama or Akano-sama's calls. Neither nor Ozzy have heard from Genshiro, Kiba, and Gasper already don't want to be around us. If last Thursday was any indication, they just laid there. Don't know what Zenobia and Irina saw in them, Ravel said. Rasvaisa is not here, Konako said, checking for any presences. Oh well, at least I proved that I was better lover than that mangy cat, with a slight smirk, remembering that Thursday they got rubbed in her face during the vacation, Rival did. Yeah, Rosnaya doesn't seem to be here, Kuroka said, not sending the Valkyrie's aura. Maybe she went out, Lefay replied. The Hyoudou looked a little surprised when they heard Rosvaisa's name. That's right, we did not say that Rosvaisa-sensei was not coming with us, Ravel said. Orphis remained silent before walking away to the rooftop where the shrine was built for her. But was for is. We'll take care, everyone, Ravel said, as she made a magic circle to take her to her family's territory. Take care, Ravel-san, Azia said. Goodbye, my kohai, Akano replied. See you soon, Ravel, with a smile to the phoenix, but for some reason, Ravel did not like that smile. The reason is because that smile is the same smile that made her continue with the worst mistake that she could ever do that will cost her greatly. Fortunately or unfortunately, it will be the last time that she ever sees that smile. Now in the Phoenix territory. When Ravel was transported, she appeared outside of her family's mansion, something that confused her. Weird. I thought I would appear in my room, Ravel said, making a communication circle to let her mother know that she was here. Okasama, I've arrived. Oh, Ravel, you arrived? No maid informed me of your arrival, Diana said. That is because I appeared outside of the mansion, Ravel said. I see. There was a pause before she responded again. I'll let security know that you're free to enter, if they haven't. Thank you, Ravel said, cutting off the call. She waited a couple minutes until the gates opened for her. She walked in. She felt a little unsettled by the looks that the guards were giving her. Did something happen? Why are you all looking at me like that? They seem sad or rather disappointed. Did I do something wrong? They know something, Ravel said. She continued walking as she entered the mansion. She was shocked to see that there was not many servants around, but whatever she did, she received a look of sadness, disappointment, even contempt from a few of the maids. When she arrived where her mother was, they whirled curtly reply, family room, and nothing else. Just those two words. It seemed a bit robotic from how they answered. She made her way to the family room when she saw her mother, her brother, Riser, and surprisingly, Sona, her queen, and Pon, Tsubaki, and Rukuro, Riser's queen, Yibuluna, sat in his lap, while the rest of them were talking amongst themselves. When they saw her, their looks changed. Ni and Lee, the cat twins, gave her sad smiles as they waved at her. Ili and Nell just looked at her with the expressions as if they were going to cry. The maid Pons, Marid, and Boulette each gave a snort and just shook their heads. The last two, Pon, Sherry, and Mara, gave her a glance and then looked away. Her former fellow bishop, Mai, had tears coming down her eyes before she looked away from Ravel's gaze. The knight, Carloman, just looked down in sadness, as the other knight, Cirrus, gave her a glare, but she had a tear roll down her eye. The rooks, Isabella and Zulon just looked neutral, and they let out a sigh and they just looked away. Something must have happened, Ravel said. Ah, Ravel, you're here, Diana said as she finished taking a sip from her tea. Riser, bring her. Riser moved Ubaluna from his lap as the queen looked at Ravel in sadness, as her king stood up and walked to her. When Riser stood in front of her, he looked sad and disappointed. He placed his hands on his shoulders and gave her a quick hug before he let her go. Onisama? Ravel said, a bit surprised, confused by his actions. Come. His tone sounded almost emotionless as he placed his hand on her back and guided her to the chair next to her mother. Sit down, Ravel, Diana said. As she sat down, how are you, Okasama? Last we talked, you informed me that you were very busy. If I may ask, why is Koichi-sama here? And where is Odo-sama? Gesturing to Sona, who kept her eyes closed as she drank her tea. I'm quite fine, and your father is busy with other arrangements with Ruvel. The reason why Sona is here to make a deal regarding the allocation of the Phoenix tiers to the Ddraig hospitals on behalf of Riser, since he is going to be the future head of the clan. I see. But don't we provide enough tiers to the hospitals already, Ravel said. Yes, but Riser wished to double it. He was going to triple it, but I settled for double, Sona said. Ravel looked at Riser in shock. She did not see how it benefited the Phoenix clan as it seemed to just benefit the Ddraig clan. She did not know what he was doing. If you are wondering how it benefits the Phoenix clan, well, they will get paid more to produce the tiers of our hospitals, and then the clan, along with our doctors and scientists provided by Ajuka-sama, will work together in utilizing an alternative to the tiers. This would reduce a great strain on the Phoenix clan to producing tiers, but they will still profit from the sales as an alternative solution as it will be based on the tiers, Sona said. Ravel gave a nod, understanding. It is likely that part of a double amount of the tiers would be used for research, while the rest would be used in hospitals to assist gravely injured. I understand. Is that all you wanted me here for? Ravel said. No, I decided to trade you back to Riser. He finds you too valuable to let go. Maybe due to your strategies, Diana said. I see. So you would like to begin the process now? Ravel said. No. Later, waving her hand. Tell me, how have you been handling your responsibilities? Diana said. I've been doing well, with a bit of pride, Ravel said. Is that so? Diana said, before reaching an envelope on a small table next to her. I believe this would say otherwise. She handed the envelope to Ravel, who opened the envelope to see that it was from the Oppai Dragon Studios. Read the letter out loud. Thank you for your services for assisting us with the creation of this series, but as it stands, you are no longer needed, and we wish you the best in your future endeavors. She was shocked and was perplexed. What does this mean? From how it looks, I would say that you're fired. Must mean that you were lying up to me about your responsibilities. How is your attendance at school? Diana said. It's perfect. I've never missed a day, Ravel said, forgetting that Sona and Tsubaki, who check attendance, were there. On the contrary, you have not been at school in the past 2 weeks. Rukuro here can attest to that as she is in the same grade as you, Sona said. Ravel looked over at the twin-tailed brunette. She seemed stoic like her mistress, but on the inside, Rukuro was seething at this, was one of the people that had slept with her now ex-boyfriend, Genshiro Sanji. Rukuro-chan, is that true? Diana said, turning to the brunette. That's correct, Phoenix-sama, maintaining her normal composure. But it was Keiichiro-sama that gave me the week off, trying to explain her cast. That is true. This would be excused absence for this past week, but not the week before, Sona says. Oh, first you lied about your responsibilities, and now your attendance record. Tell me, what were you doing that week before? That Sona-san mentioned, Diana said. Ravel started. She didn't know what to say. I can make this right. This letter is a misunderstanding. I could speak with Issei-sama, but she was interrupted by her mother. That doesn't answer my question. But since you brought him up, how is your relationship with Issei-kun? Diana said. It's been going well, Ravel replied. Really? When was the last time you saw him? Diana said. A couple weeks ago, she was trying to stay calm, but now she was getting worried. I see. Speaking of relationships, Rukuro said, I hear that you are dating the feature wielder Genshiro Sanji. Is that correct? Diana said. She noticed Ravel tense up at the name, but shock was written all over her face. No, ma'am. Not anymore, Rukuro says. Oh, why is that? Diana replied. He cheated on me with different people. She did not look in Ravel's direction. She didn't need, as everyone already knew she was guilty. That's a shame. Can you believe that, Ravel? To be cheated on. Surely Issei-kun would never do that to you. But you would do that to him. Turning to Ravel, who was looking down, but they could see the trails of tears going down her face. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, she continued on a chant, as Sona and her Parage members looked on stoically. Riser and his Parage looked on in concern, while Diana looked at her daughter in sadness, but remained neutral as this needed to be done. What are you sorry for, Ravel? Diana said. It's my fault that Sanji cheated on you, looking towards Rukuro. It was me and Azuya-senpai. We slept with him. I had caught him with Azuya-senpai after I was thinking of how Konoko kept telling me that she was a better lover than me. I was thinking of ways to prove her wrong, and I stumbled upon him and Azuya-senpai as they just vented my frustrations. I did not realize they were having... Then he started to talk to me how I can prove Konoko wrong. I started to feel an attraction towards him as he began talking. I did not know what his pull was, but I accepted his offer and joined them, Ravel said. So you got into bed with someone who was with another and someone who has also committed the same person that you were with, Diana said. Yes. I'm sorry, Ria-sama told me that it was okay, that Issei-sama didn't need to find out. I didn't know that he had a girlfriend. He never said anything about it. I talked with Azuya-senpai on it, and she felt an attraction, and she told him that she offered to share the experience with him after her assurance. I felt that it was okay, and we did it again. But with the other girls, but was interrupted again. They're lovers, correct? Diana said. Her hair shadowed her face. You let your pride over an inconsequent rivalry with a mangy cat, whose older sister herself to anyone for an excuse of repopulating her species. Thus you cheated on your fiancé with a complete bastard. Is that correct? Diana said. But she was interrupted again. That's Lady Phoenix-sama to you, Ravel. Tell me, where did you and the band of do to your deed with lovers, Diana said. She remembered they did it in Issei's room, but they cleaned it up. He couldn't have noticed, could he? Then he remembered that she hadn't seen him. But her mother was acting like she already knew. But how? Ravel said. It was in Issei-kun's room, correct? Diana said. Have you no shame? You threw everything that I taught you away for what? For a few hours of lust? As she angrily stood up, while throwing her empty teacup at the wall while it shattered. When the cup shattered, Ravel jumped. She had never seen her mother so angry. How? She could not believe her mother knew. They did that, Ravel said. Oh, you're wondering how I know. Well, I'd say ask the bastard that you slept with. He ratted you all out. But he didn't need to because Issei-kun already knew, Diana said. What? Ravel said, remember they performed a spell, so Issei wouldn't notice the essence of another male. But how did he know? Ravel said. Ravel, if you're thinking about that spell that you and the others used, I will tell you right now it is ineffective against dragons, speaking up for the first time since he greeted his sister, Riser did. What? Ravel said. She couldn't help but receive herself, eyes wide in shock. A dragon can always tell when a female is impregnated by another male, especially if that one is they are close to. As a result, they become sick. They feel as if their stomach is turning upside down, and the urge to vomit sometimes they actually do, Riser said. How do you know this, Riser? Sona said. She was curious about Riser's knowledge about the dragon. Sona was. I wanted to believe that your sort of a pawn did something to my sister, so I went to see Tanyan about the dragons and their mates. He explained to me that a dragon can release pheromones to attract a female, and what my sister just said about feeling a pull, I think he did. Gritting his teeth in anger, Riser did. Sona starts again. Seems you will have to speak with Vitra after this. Riser picked up the conversation again. I also was asked if there was a spell to block a dragon's senses, if there was a case of infidelity, to which Tanyan told me no, so the moment they did the act, it didn't matter, the jig was up. The moment Issei got near them, and from what he saw from his memories, they decided to do it literally when he got out of a coma after risking his to save us, and that's what they do to him? Especially that who I let unfortunate pleasure of calling her my fiancé. Now that I think about it, I feel like Issei saved me from her rather than the other way around, Riser said. Ravel could not only look down in defeat. It didn't matter what she said. They knew everything. She felt stupid for listening to Rias that everything would be fine, and they could have their fun and no one would need to know, but Issei already did from the moment she slept with Sanji. Rukuro was doing her best not to cry, because it was very clear that Sanji did not care about the relationship. She and Momo had to confess to him just after the war ended, and he accepted. A couple weeks later, he was distant. She found out why the previous Friday after the incident that was caused trying to frame Issei. How intuitive of you. You got yourself a lucky man, Yubaluna, impressed by Riser's knowledge, gathering about dragons and giving credit to his new fiancée who was his queen, Sona said. Thank you, Yubaluna says, giving Trihexa a smile. Sona-san, did you look into what Issei saw in his dream, Riser said. Yes, I checked the footage, Sona replied. Rias did bring the Harakaku to Issei's room after a week while he was in a coma. That, Riser said before he let out a sigh. Well, I'm done here, but before I go I will tell you, Ravel, that don't think of letting these girls know. Not like you could do anything anyways. Riser dear, you can tell her what her punishment is, since you were speaking anonymous for a lesser sentence, which you should be grateful that you were such a caring brother. Seems your ex-fiancé was a good influence on him. Getting up from the chair, Diana said. As she walked away, her neutral facade cracked as she looked on with sadness at her daughter, who could only look around on the ground, tears dripping from her eyes. As a mother, it was tough to let a child go. She was not sure how Valena was going to handle letting go of Rias, but considering how she was the mastermind, or at least insinuated this concept of cheating, it was going to be much tougher. Sona-san, Ryuko-san, I know that you may not like my daughter for what she did, but could you bring her the work that she will be missing in school and cover for her, at least until the others are punished as well? I am willing to compensate you, Diana said. Sona was a bit shocked at the request, but Rukuro was thinking about the compensation, and she thought of Genshiro's siblings. Excuse me, Lady Phoenix, I have a request as well. As she got up and walked to the Phoenix Marsha, these are Genshiro's siblings, showing a picture of the siblings. The little girl is named Kaiho, and the boy's name is Gengo. The little girl is aware of the supernatural. Kachiyo-sama informed Momo that Issei-senpai was donating some of his money to them, but I don't think it would be enough, Rukuro said. Oh, so you would like the Phoenix clan to help take care of them. It should not be a problem, Diana said. No. I mean yes or no. What I mean is that the money would help them in some capacity, but not in an emotional capacity. When Momo and I are handling schoolwork, I would like for you to look after them and be a mother figure in their lives, Rukuro said. Diana was shocked at her request. As the other occupants in the room, to have a marcher babysit some children was quite absurd. Diana pondered a bit, thinking of how her children were already grown up. It would be nice to have little youngsters, and Valena has with Milicus. I don't see why not. It would give me something to do. Well, Richard is training Riser to be the leader of the clan. May I? Asking for the picture. I'd like to show Richard of who I'd be taking care of, Diana said. Oh, of course. Thank you very much. Handing the picture over and bowing to the matriarch, Rukuro did. Thank you, Diana said, turning around and walking out of the room. Well, I'm leaving as well, Sona said. I'll go see if you use dragon's pheromones on your sister and let you know, speaking to Riser, who nodded. Then she turned to those who were with her. Tsubaki, Rukio, shall we? Oh, coming, Kachuo-sama. Running back to her mistress as she did, she looked towards Ravel, who did not move from her position, but this time she didn't feel any anger. She actually felt hopes that her girl would get over this and be able to move on with her life. Ravel, take care, creating a transportation circle, as she did her barrage 2 members left. Once they did, Riser got up from the couch and walked over to Ravel and knelt down in front of her. Ravel, I hate to say this, but you are no longer a member of the Phoenix family. The deal that I made was more or less to protect you because I had a feeling that you wouldn't have done something like this without some influence. You can't use magic as I placed a seal on you. When I hugged you and took your phone as well, you will be confined to the Phoenix Mansion. Until the others are punished after that, you will have to leave. I will set up an apartment for you, and you will be with the girls of my barrage because I cannot trust Rias after this, and don't want you anywhere near her. I know you are smarter than this, Ravel. You should have come to us after you did it the first time, but that's where I failed you as a big brother. I could not do what Ijuku-sama did with Dodoria. I thought I could, but I can't. I'm sorry, hugging the girl, who was in distraught upon learning that she was disowned by her family. Thank you, Riser-sama, Ravel said. I'm still your big brother. You can still call me Oni-sama, even if you are expelled from the clan, Riser said. Oni-sama, crying into her brother's shoulder for her failures and her troubles she had caused her ex-clan. To Issei, to Sona, to Sanji's siblings, and Rukio and Momo, even though she did not know Momo was also dating Kenshiro. Riser just let her cry it all out. He decided that he did not want to tell her about the trial that Kenshiro had coming up. Girls, take her to the room and watch over her. Make sure she does not escape. As the girls came to lift Ravel and walked to her room, where she would be confined for the foreseeable future. They whispered apologies to Ravel. Oh, they did not like what she did. She was once their friend and teammate, and the impact of being expelled was taking its toll. They wanted to cheer her up, but did not know how, so they kept quiet and escorted her away. Riser let out a sigh as he watched most of Barrage take his sister away, while Yubaluna came up to him. How are you feeling, dear? Yubaluna said. Like shit, Riser replied. At least you could protect her now, Yubaluna said, only for a little bit. But at least I can keep her away from them. Thanks to my deal with Sir Zex, I'm not sure how he will feel when all this is said and done. I could use that my mother was hurting, which is understandable because she had to let a child go. But maybe the 2 munchkins that they saw will perk up again. I can handle Ravel, Riser said. And your father, Yubaluna replied. He needs to calm down first. Ruvalni is helping him with that. Eventually he'll talk to her. Expelling her was one of the toughest decisions that he had to make, Riser said. I see, massaging his shoulders. Well, let's leave the girls to attend her. I think you need to release some of your stress. Taking his hand and walking to them in the bedroom for some time alone, Yubaluna did. Now in an unknown location, there was a building. It was guarded by demons that bore the Sea-Tree symbol. In this building, there was a blonde that laid on the ground. His eyes were bloodshot, tears down his face as he trembled in the fatal position. His hair was disheveled and thinning. It didn't help that he was wet due to the guards throwing water on him as he began to stink. Since this place did not have a working shower, or at least they gave him a toilet, that was Genshiro Sanji, whimpering constantly, telling someone, please stop. Inside Genshiro's mind. So this is inside of Sanji's mind. Sanji watched as the young blonde-haired woman, who was about 9 years old, kissing his former friend, Issei. What does that mean, Kahu? Addressing the woman. What does it mean, Nissan? Stopping her kisses, and Issei kissed down her neck. You were the one that left us, and Issei-sama took care of us while you were with them, Kahu said. What? I was only gone for a week, Ichiro said. No, Nissan, you were gone for 13 years. You might not realize it because of yours and Issei-sama's appearances. No, that's not true, Sanji said. Over the course of a week, Vitra had been playing tricks on Genshiro's mind, confusing his concept of time and instilling false images of his siblings living in poverty. After being kicked out of their apartment because he was not there to pay rent, he saw how Sona stayed true to her word, and Sea-Tree clan did not help. Seeing even though Momo and Rukio look at his siblings in contempt, he thought that they loved his younger siblings. But he saw how wrong he was. They were left alone starving, seeking shelter in the park. It was even worse as he saw how some people think of kidnapping the children. He tried to call out to them, but they couldn't hear him. He begged Vitra to help him escape, as Vitra told him that this was what was happening in the outside world, as a courtesy of Sona. What he did not know is that Future was lying to him, letting the curse take over. Seeing his siblings get skinny and his younger brother fall ill, he got worried. When they called out for him, he replied back, but they didn't hear him. He then heard his younger sister, Kaho, cry and ask, "Why did you want to be with them more than us?" He did not know what she was talking about until Vitra showed them where he was. Genshiro looked around as he was in a bed, surrounded Issei's exes. They were naked. He could tell the smell of the scent of was in the air. No, I need to get to my siblings," Sanji said, trying to get up and find his clothes, but ended up waking Rias. "What's the matter, Genkan?" Rias said. Hearing the nickname caused Genshiro to freeze up. Only Momo and Rukio call him that. "What did you call me?" Sanji said. "Genkan, you wanted me to scream your name, remember? Don't worry about the other guys. It's just us. After all, you did us the best, so we figured to reward you," Rias said. "I don't care about that. I need to get my siblings," Gen said. "They seem to be pretty fine to me," pointing over his shoulder to see the vision that he was seeing now of his grown-up sister kissing Issei. "You see, Nissan, you stayed in bed with them when we needed you. Genko-kun fell ill and you decided to keep sleeping with them, spending money to buy them luxuries," Kaho said. "That's a lie," Sanji said. "It's true, Sanji. Don't you remember how you bragged about sleeping with Rias to the whole class?" Issei said. "And you assaulted me, you..." Genshiro said. "Did I?" Issei said. Vitra showed an alternative of what happened, where he said how he slept with Rias. He saw Issei walk away and some people jeered at him. Some dudes even congratulated Sanji. "No, that didn't happen. You assaulted me and Katsura integrated afterwards," Genshiro said. "No, she wasn't there. You did make sure that no one found out. You then left to go to the RC to continue having sex with them, pointing to the naked girls with him. This is all you've been doing. You didn't notice how I dropped out of Ko," Issei said. "Then why am I being punished?" Sanji said. "I didn't know having sex was a punishment. Sona found out and removed you from her barrage, while Rias tracked me down to take my pieces to give you," Issei says. "Then how are you alive, Hyoudou?" Genshiro says. "It's not Hyoudou, remember? The girls and you saw to that," Issei replied. "It's true, of course. We didn't tell him that you were a pawn as well," Rias said. "What? Then how are you with my siblings?" Genshiro said. "Well, I found them in the park. I had fired Ravel so she wouldn't take my money and put it towards them after I came back from training. I searched for you, but you were still banging them in my former room," Issei said. "And I fell for Issei-sama in the process," Kaho said. "See, as she moved her shirt a little down her cleavage, but also a mark on her breast. When Genshiro saw the mark, he knew that what it means, as Vitra informed him. 'You slept with my sister? You..." Sanji said. "You slept with mine, remember?" Issei replied. It stopped Sanji for a second. He remembered how Azia came up to him and offered himself to accepted it. He shouldn't be blamed for that. She made her choice. She offered herself to me because you probably had a shrimp between your legs and you could never satisfy her like I can or any of them. It's why they left you," Sanji said. "And I made my choice as well. I offered myself up to Issei-sama and Nissan. I don't need to be rude, but Issei-sama is bigger than you," pointing to his exposed member, Kaho did. "You should really be more aware of your surroundings," Issei replied. It was then Sanji saw that despite the bed, he and the girls were caged in. Unlike Kaho and Issei that were standing naked in front of them in his emotionless flare that he wasn't aware of was going around him. "Anyway, we figured we came to see you provide with a show," Issei said. "What?" Genshiro said. "Well, you finished banging them in front of us. It's only fair that we return the favor." As she began to remove her clothes. No, Kaho, please stop. I'm sorry I left you. Please don't do this," Sanji said. "If you want to blame anyone, you can blame them," pointing to the girls. "You chose them over us." And she grabbed by a naked Issei. Sanji could see that Issei clearly was bigger than him and he felt emasculated. "Issei-sama, don't be gentle this time," Kaho said. "Okay," as he thrusted into the young woman. "No!" Listening to her sister's moans. "Stop it!" Sanji said. I'm not gonna mock Kaho. She's just basically just getting banged here. Sanji could only watch. He didn't want this. When he slept with girls, he began to cry. He really left his siblings for all these women, all these years. He was having fun with his friends, girls, that he left his siblings alone, and Issei took his place. Issei replaced him in their lives like he replaced Issei in the girls' lives, but he wasn't happy about it. He wanted his siblings happy with him. "This isn't what I wanted," Genshiro said. "It's a consequence of your actions," Vitra said. "Why are you showing me this? I thought we were partners. That I was your other self. Why are you doing this to me?" Sanji said. When that nun approached you, you completely decided to forget about your 2 girlfriends. I told you to walk away. You wouldn't listen. When you got caught by that phoenix, you had the audacity to use her dragon hormones to lure her into bed as well. Even worse, you agreed that with that redhead that it was all fun and games, and nobody would get hurt as long as nobody found out. But you didn't care because of your demon side. You were filled with envy and lust because he had it all, Vitra said. I'm sorry, Genshiro said as he slid down his knees, still hearing Issei and his confirm fornicate. Sorry my ass. If you were sorry, you would have slapped that nun and went to tell Issei, but you didn't. You bragged to the school about how you slept with that tomato head, as well as look at what happened. You lost your girlfriends, your prestige, respect of others like your siblings and me, which by the way, you'll lose me too, Vitra said. But I could die, Sanji said, fearing the prospect of dying and not seeing his siblings. Did you care when Issei was dying? No. So why should I care if you die? I'm an evil dragon as well, remember? Vitra said. Please make it stop, please. He then felt a pair of breasts on his back. They felt sticky. What's wrong, Genkan? Come back to bed. Let me have their fun. It doesn't matter if Issei is bigger than you. Well, actually, all of you guys. You still have us, Ria says. Sanji shivered, not only from the feeling of his own seat on his back, but how she emasculated him as well. If Issei was bigger than them, why did she have sex with them? Why did she have with any of them? He cursed his demon side for letting take over and ruin his life. His envy towards Issei was somewhat justified. Issei had girls and parents. Well, he had his siblings, but he got his girls and threw them away within 2 weeks. He remembered how Hyoudou spoke of Issei. He could see that Issei didn't have parents. Issei did not have a happy family like he thought. Get off me, he whispered. Genkan? Get off me, he spoke a little louder. I still can't hear it as he pressed himself into the beginning Rias did. I said, get off me, Sanji said, as he threw her away from him, back into the bed as the others who woke up from their daze. What's wrong, Genkan? Gen-senpai, Konako said. Are you okay? Ravel said. Are you hurt? Irina replied. We can change that, Kuruka said. Akano said, yeah, we can, Genkan. Come back to bed, Genkan, Rias said. No, make it stop. Suddenly, his body began to move forward towards the girls. No, Vitra, what's happening? Make it stop. It's what you wanted, Vitra said, forcing Sanji forward. Come to us, Genkan, the girls said. No, stop it, Vitra, stop it, I don't want this, please, I'm sorry, make it stop, as he kept hearing Genkan, his sister's moans, Issei's threats. Stop, Sanji said. Now we're outside of Genshiro's mind. It really took him a week, damn, it was just a simple illusion, Vitra said. A magic circle with Citri's symbol appeared as Sona and Tsubaki came out, after they dropped Rukuro off. What's this? Why is he on the floor like that? Vitra, seeing her pawn in a fetal position. Just utilizing one of my curses, showing him an illusion of Issei being his grown-up sister. Even had his sister and the tomato had emasculated him that Issei was bigger than him, Vitra said. What did Rias have to do with it? Sona replied. Just for her to emphasize that he chose sleeping with his former friend's girls than worrying about his siblings' safety. So altered time in his head, making him watch how his siblings suffered, but it was Issei who took care of them, and thus his sister fell for Issei, and he had marked her, Vitra said. I see. Well, we came from the Phoenix Mansion. They have taken in Ravel, but there's something she said that made me curious about Riser wanting to know. And what's that? Vitra replied. Ravel mentioned how she felt a pull, and Riser talked with Tanin about dragons using their hormones to attract others. Tell me, did he do that to Ravel? Ha! What a coincidence. I was reprimanding him about that. But yes, he did, and then agreed with the tomato head that, as long as nobody found out, nobody gets hurt. But not only to her. You remember that girl that accused Issei of having her underwear? Vitra said. Yes. When he and the 2 perverts were playing their so-called harmless prank on Issei, what about her? Tsubaki says. He tried it on first, before trying it on the Phoenix girl. That girl was another of his. He seduced her after a week. Being with those 2 that were in a barrage, he was envious of Issei, so he tried building his harem, albeit forcefully. When that nun came to offer herself, he basically abandoned that girl, Vitra said. I can't believe I helped that, Sona said, moving forward to sit down in one of the chairs. Calm down, Sona. You did because of those kids, and they will have a better life, Tsubaki. What do you mean? Didn't you say you were abandoning them? Vitra said. Do you really see me as that cold-hearted? Sona said. Getting no response, she continued on. Well, Vitra-san, your illusion is somewhat correct, as Issei is giving some of his Oppai Dragon money to the siblings. In addition, Momo and Rukyo will help out when they can, and somehow Rukyo has convinced Lady Phoenix to be a mother figure in their lives, since they hadn't had one in a while, Sona said. Ha! That boy is something else. Ddraig is lucky he got someone with honor, but you said part of the money. What's he doing with the rest? Vitra said. According to my sister, he's giving the rest of it to them, and then the rest is going towards the rebuilding of our academy in Oros. Damn, despite all what they did, he's still looking out for them. They really don't deserve him, Vitra said. Not according to my sister. It's essentially a smokescreen. Keeps them occupied, while the factions decide their punishment handed out to them, Sona said. Oh man, they really did underestimate his intelligence, Vitra said. And considering that he doesn't require any of it, it makes me think that he has something greater in compensation. I wonder how he's surviving, Tsubaki said. Remember, he trained with Tanin, so we would have the survival instincts, as the wild lands of the underworld are much worse than the human world. At least he doesn't have a former Dragon King hunting him constantly, Sona said. I suppose, Tsubaki replied. Is that all you wanted to ask in regards of this pawn of yours? Vitra said. Yes. Riser had a feeling that his sister was influenced, which is why he asked Tanin about the dragon phenomenons. And you confirmed it for me. Everything after that, Ravel is smarter than that, and should have known better. Thank you for your time, Vitra-san. No problem. You think I can get out of here? Vitra said. I'm not sure. Considering that your other pieces were implanted into him by scientists at the Gregar, maybe they can remove you from him. We'll ask about the meeting if need be. Thanks, Vitra said. I'll leave you for your fun, Sona said. And he needs a proper bath. He smells. Throwing cold water on him does nothing. We don't need him dying before his trial. Come, Tsubaki. Hi, Kachio, Tsubaki says, as left in the marked circle. Now let's see. What to do? Oh, how about showering your grown-up brother slept with a woman that you lied about loving, since they took such good care of him? Vitra said, ending the flashback. But at least Vitra-san is having fun. It was more annoying having to deal with the parents of those two perverts. First, it was preventing them from contacting the Hyoudou for Issei to pay for the injuries that their son sustained. Then it was preventing them from contacting the Hyoudou to apologize credit for Issei trying to make them change their perverted ways. And that girl's parents as well, Tsubaki said. Yes, they apologized to Momo and Rukyo for ruining their relationship, but she got lighter suspension because she was used by him as well, Sona said. I suppose you're right, Tsubaki replied. When I find Razvice's attitude, she seems down about something, Susena said. Maybe she's guilty about what she's done, Tsubaki replied. You may be right, but it feels like she is avoiding Rias and Azazel. She didn't go on that vacation with them, and neither did Kiba or Gasper, Sona said. You're right. Hopefully things would be said and done at the meeting, Tsubaki said. Yes, we needed to hold out for another week. After this one, she was interrupted by a knock on the door. Enter, Sona said. The door opened up and walked in the people the least wanted to see. Rias Gremory and her queen, Akano Hajime. As the saying goes, speak of the devil and it shall appear, Sona says. Letting out a sigh, she acknowledged the people that walked in. What can I do for you, Rias? Sona said. Hello, Sona. It's been a while. Just coming to see you, Rias said. Well, now that you've seen me, I guess you can go, Sona said, turning her back to the paperwork at her desk. Oh, you're awfully busy. I guess with graduation coming up in a month and a half, it's be expected at least you'll have a legacy for Zenobia-san to follow. Akano said. Zenobia? Sona replied. Yes, she's strict in her faith. Thanks to her upbringing, I believe she would make a good student council president after you. Wouldn't you agree? Rias said. With a leader like you, what faith? Sona/Tsubaki said. That is to be determined, Sona said. Hey, Sona, have you heard anything from Ravel? We haven't seen her since she left, and we haven't been able to contact her. Do you know anything? Rias said. Not really. Only clan issues. I received a notice from Lady Phoenix to excuse her while she's away. It seemed personal, so I wouldn't interfere unless you want to damage your clan's standing with them. Then thinking, more than you already have. I guess you're right. Have you heard from Sanji-kun? She was interrupted by Sony. One-sama, Sona said. What was that? Rias replied. He's with One-sama, Sona said. Do you know when he'll be done? Rias replied. Why are you worried about my pawn, Rias? As a matter of fact, why are you interjecting yourself into the Secret Clan matters? Sona said, sending a glare towards Gremory Harris. No reason. Sorry for interfering. I didn't know. She was a bit nervous. She could not speak more about Sanji. Otherwise, Sona would look into it and be alert of what she's been doing, which she didn't want anyone to know, obviously. Unfortunately for her, everyone in the biblical faction knows, as Issei requested the leaders release the information to the public, but there was no media, as they did not want word getting out to the ones that betrayed the pillar. The parents of the girls did not receive any backlash, and it was recorded how Issei doesn't hate them. It made people respect Issei even more, and that he doesn't harbor any hate, chose to carry on with his life. Of course, some wanted him to get his revenge, but leaders calmed those talks down, indicating that they were planning something. If that's all, you can go. There's much work needed to be done. Shuffling her paperwork, Tsubaki, here, handing over the stack of papers. I need these organized before the end of the week, Sona said. Yes, ma'am, Tsubaki said, taking papers and going to the desk. Nearly she acknowledged the two other devils, so she walked by them. Ria-san, Akano-san, have a good day. She, like Sona, kept her tone neutral, to not give anything away. I guess I'll leave you to your work. Sorry for disturbing, Ria said, turning to leave. Don't stretch yourself out too much, giving a quick bow with a smile, following Rias out of the student council room. While Tsubaki and Soe carried on their work, they also made sure they would not feel neither Rias or Akano's energies nearby with an earshot. As they continued to work, Tsubaki decided to ask something what Rias had said. Are you really going to have Zenobia run this place after they graduate? Tsubaki says. Absolutely not, Sona responded almost as quickly as Tsubaki asked the question. They both laughed at Sona's response and continued to do their work with a smile on their face. Both of them felt a bit better, but they were curious about this new Ross Visa issue. Sona was grateful that Shizami kept Azazel busy as well. If something else happened between Ross Visa and Azazel, then it would be a matter of time before they would know. Right now, she needed to figure how to contact Issei, and how he could be aware of his finals that are coming up. And that is where we're going to stop for now. We're about 20 minutes away from the end of chapter 2019. And I know this is where stuff actually started to heat up because Issei comes back into the picture. But we're going to stop for now because I like leaving you guys on cliffhangers. I'm just kidding. I just am, I'm really tired. So I'm just going to stop reading for now. I think that was about 40 or 45 minutes. So that's pretty good for an episode. It's almost an hour. So thank you so much for the support, ladies and gentlemen. I really do appreciate it. Once again, let me know what kind of what ifs that you would like in the comment section down below. I'd love to do them on Goku, Naruto, My Hero, even though I'm not the biggest fan. I really don't care though. I've watched the anime and I know the whole entire story, so it doesn't matter to me. I'm watching One Piece currently, so I can't do a what if on it yet because I don't know much about it in the first place. So I'm only on episode 80. Currently, so it's going to take a while before I even do a what if on that thing. I'm going to need to get to episode 300 to actually know somewhat of what's going on, correct? So thank you so much for the support, ladies and gentlemen. I don't even know what logias are yet. All I know is about hockey. So I don't even know what hockey. I know what hockey is, but that's only because for other people. Anyway, I'm not even going to get into it. So thank you so much for the support once again, ladies and gentlemen. If we could hit 400 to 500 likes, that would be absolutely amazing. Without any further ado, Spartanic Arts DxD out.